the dark, it change color.
Right here, bringing these dreams to reality. Dreams to reality. You imagine life without fears. No stress about the rent, holding back tears. Take a week vacay on a holiday. The children play all day. Mommy didn't have to go away. Imagine black and white unity, peace and opportunity. True education for all in our community. Real health and wellness you can eat. Change your mindset. Living life so beautifully. I know it seems like a dream, but we have the capability. Unify the means with a twist of humility. Love is the cure. First you have to love yourself. Self-hate is a curse. Need to unlearn yourself. Time to build up this wealth. Pass it down to my youth. Remove greed from their mind and insert the truth. Make my world a better place. This is my responsibility. MLK had a dream, making our reality. Living a life so beautiful. Living in a land of opportunity. It's our opportunity. Ain't no other place that I would rather be. Right here, bringing these dreams to reality. It's our dream. Living a life so beautiful. 2020. Vision in my heart so beautiful. It's our dream. These dreams in reality. I'm like 2 Chainz with a Kool-Aid smile. With my boo thing wild. How we do things now, tied in shoestrings. Nothing simple. I got the hunger to grind. I'm raising 2 daughters, got the hunger to climb. The highest mountain for a piece of the pie. While I'm here, might as well grab a piece of the sky. The whole life was giving up for this moment to shine. That's why I fight for the people to the day that I die. No lie, no lie. And push your limits, no gimmicks. I'm in the habit, relaxing and chilling, living my best life. That nigga, I'm thinking something so wonderful. She said I'm a favorite rapper because my swag is a political statement. She wonder if I catch the high on contact. Watch the office fall asleep on my arm tag. Wake up the next morning, hit a rally with no cap. Just to show the world you keep a dream or you fall back. Absolutely, yes. Living in the land of opportunity. There's no other place that I would rather be. Right here, bringing these dreams to reality. Dreams to reality. Yeah. We gonna make it. Hey, this very good. This good. I love you guys. Give it up one time. 5-1. Peace and love. It's an opportunity. 2020. Hey, hold on. Shut this down real quick. Shut this down real quick. So this is my best friend, and you know, for me, I don't know if you guys heard my story. Many of you who follow me on Twitter or see me talk about my personal story about the reason why this election and voting for Bernie Sanders is personal to me.
You know, my dad was 56 when he passed away of heart disease, and he didn't have the proper health care to get the treatment that he needed. And I know that, you know, coming up in the future, to prevent that from happening to anyone else, we need to get it done. So what better person to do it than the Senator Bernie Sanders himself, right? And I'm so proud of my boy here. I don't know if you guys know this person on his shirt. This was his late wife who passed away almost a year ago. 26 years old. So he's a widow. He's raised his 2 boys. His 2 boys are here. My 2 girls are here. So we single parents trying to do this thing together. So definitely. Appreciate the love. So most of you guys in here should know this last song I'm doing. Our Revolution. You guys know this, right? Yeah. If you haven't heard it, where have you been? Where have you been? No, I'm just kidding. So this song this encompasses everything what's going on with this campus, right? It's our revolution, right? Yes. Hands in the air! Hands in the air! It's our revolution. Every single day we have to fight, right? Yes. We can't get content. We can't get down. We can't get mad because, you know, news organizations are not bringing it the way they should be, right? They're slapping things. But we gotta stay active, we gotta fight, so this is our revolution. If you know this song, I want you guys to get up and get live with me. Stand up, Shaq. Come on, y'all. Y'all got feet, stand up. Come on, let's go ahead and stand for a minute. Stand up. Hey.
In case you don't know, the American people hold the President of the United States.
You can put it up here.
They hold the Republican Party independent. They hold the Democratic Party independent. And I won't give. The American people want to see our kids educated.
Listen to me,
all I hear is a lot of rhetoric, a bunch of sellouts still trying to be the president, running up their pockets with that Wall Street money. Now they trying to throw dirt until we all get bloody, but I'ma make them fight, make them squeal, rubber ducky. In 2016, you bloody haters got lucky. Now it's almost 2020, it's about to get ugly. I'ma knock on every door and now tell who's gonna judge me now. Cause we've been fighting nepotism, all these ladies in position, all these prisons pay attention. They don't wanna feel the burn, they try to hurt the competition. We let the politician let you know that this position for the people, education, make it bigger. Shit, the family, teen, and equality for women, comprehensive immigration, they don't real black agenda. Medicare for all, yeah, you started revolution's calling for the rights of all. No dreams too big or small. For me, standing tall. Our revolution's calling for the rights of all. Matter of fact, you can put it on my tab. We counting every vote, they think they got it in the bag. $27 and they still getting mad. What? We never gonna let up. Burn the establishment, I'm screaming from the neck up. This is our time, this is our fight. These are my kids, this is my life. This ain't about the left, this ain't about the right. Nobody cares if your MAGA hat's on tight. You little baby still running from the wrong field, while the court still trying to pay their light bill. 40 hours got a bigger for a living wage. Vietnam vet still trying to see a better day. Instead of drowning in the ocean full of miseries, we gon' stand tall with the burn, making history.
You see me? You hear me? These are my streets, home, brothers, sisters, neighbor. What do I want? What do I need? Dignity, security. Why must that be a dream? Got sick on Sunday, there goes rent. Car won't start, zero with savings, late for work, lost an hour's pay. Landlord don't care, now I'm on the streets. Who are we? Who are you? I'm a pre-existing medical condition, a disposable pawn in a bureaucrat's war. They say the world is ours for the taking, yet profit off our youth, exploit our poor. 54 years free, still waiting on equal pay. Welcome to America. Money and speech, corporations are people, one person, one vote. I see you pays for your ass, I'm no political chump. Want my vote, earn my vote. I see the charade, I know my history. They say incremental change is the way. Try living the day in my shoes, walking in my shoes. What about my pension? Good question. This is freedom, they say. I'm done holding my tongue. Something's gotta change. Enough is enough. Be bold, be the change. It's not too old, too young, shut up. It's the way it's always been. One day you'll see. Greed is good. No, no, no. Do you see me? Do you see me now?
Before we get started, I want to introduce myself. My name is Vic Mensa. I'm from the south side of Chicago. So the neighborhood that I grew up in is called Hyde Park. And this is the neighborhood that Obama lives in. This is also the neighborhood of the prestigious University of Chicago, where 40 years before my birth, the man that we came here for today was photographed chained up with people just like me. And that's the primary reason that I stand here, that I ride for Bernie, because that shows me where his heart is. Oftentimes I have so much trouble connecting to politicians because everything's political, you know? And Fred Hampton said politics is war without bloodshed.
Fred Hampton!
And I feel that there's so much bloodthirst in politics, and there's also so much posturing, and so many candidates that I see in this current race have platforms that they stand on and accolades that they flaunt that are recent and that are in the aim of political gain. You know, so I got a question when I look at a candidate who is touting their military service, and that was 2012. This is only 2019. I got a question: what's your motivation?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I look at a candidate that in the 80s was pretending to be Native American, and today, and my mom really likes it. I was going off about it the other day when my mom came to visit me, and I'm just talking all the shit because I saw the card, and I'm like, yeah, she was pretending to be a Native American. She even wrote American Indian in handwriting for her bar exam. I'm going on for 5 minutes. My mom's like,
No, but you're
I
right.
got a picture with it. But for real though, it's like, it's hard for me to believe that people are for us, for people like you and I, especially for people of color, when they have a history of exploiting people of color for personal gain. And I know that all of us here today know what it's like for your struggles and your trials and tribulations, especially in the space of race, to be co-opted and used as a ticket to fame, you know, and that's hurtful, and it lets you know that somebody's not a real ally. That's why I really focus on and give so much credence to that photograph that we keep talking about, because that's far before
there could have been presidential aspirations.
Amen.
That's just a good person. That's a good person doing the right thing in trying times. And those are the times that really, that's the true measure of a man or a woman. It's how you act under pressure like that. Especially on the south side of Chicago. Being from Chicago, I'm constantly dodging these, just exploitative judgments of our city and the violence in our city being used as a scapegoat by the men in the White House, by the people on Fox News. Anything happens in America, Rahm Emanuel, a piece of shit. Let's just be real about it. He's another politician. His brother was on Entourage. And I fuck with this and Chase. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to curse. I really do though. Shout out to that man. Vinny Chase is the man, but it's like, we're not electing Turtle for president. He may not be on. It's really good. We just stick to that. Yeah, man. You know the violence in Chicago. Every time something happens in the black community, or we're talking about police brutality, and we're tired of being beaten in the street like dogs. They point to Chicago. They say, "Look at Chicago," as if we're some poster child of the broken black male criminality, and it's all forgetting the situations that created this violence in Chicago. Not forgetting, but choosing to gloss over it. I feel like a pillar of American politics and understanding of how to keep this uber capitalism going has to be revisionist history. I remember being in school and we got a pizza party for Christopher Columbus, that's twisted, you know what I mean?
Yes!
Because we all like pizza, you know what I mean? We don't trust you if you don't like pizza. So then you get associated, and it's the same thing with the violence in Chicago, man. It's like they like to gloss over the red line, and they created these situations where black people couldn't move out of the hood. And we live in food deserts. We have no trauma units, although we experience some of the highest rates of gun violence. And all these things I'm talking about, that's what Bernie talks about, changing in this nation. That's what he talks about transforming. When he talks about transforming, I think about mental health all the time. I think about my family's mental health, my own mental health, and I'm just dumbfounded by the idea that I can be depressed and anxious because I'm too broke to pay to someone to talk about being depressed and anxious. That's frustrating. And I mentioned the food deserts that we experience being on the train, and people are feeding their kids flaming hot Cheetos and cheese for breakfast. The infrastructure is not broken, but it's stacked against us because in this particularly vicious brand of capitalism, everything is for sale. A life is for sale. Children's lives are for sale. We were at the border not long ago and went into Tijuana, and we're seeing the situation that's happening down there. And there are actually children that, because of the negligence of our nation and the messed up asylum process, these people it's Haitian immigrants that are being forced to be in Tijuana for months to turn into years, and there's mafia people offering to buy their children, you know what I'm saying? They're drinking dirty water. I'm not gonna say too much more, but on the topic of water, I wrote a song some years ago about Flint, Michigan. That still, it's crazy how something will be all in the media and there's all this outrage and the problem never gets fixed and we just move on. So I wanted to bring this back real quick and open up with this verse. Color of morning peak coming out of the sink. It's 2019, who would think? Kids in America don't have clean water to drink. like they cut the EBT, took them off for the link. I read a story about a woman with a daughter in Flint. She got lead poisoning from showers in the morning when the governor switched out the pipes to bring the water into the city river, because he said they can't afford to get clean water, so the poor people get the shorter end of the stick. Ain't that some bullshit? Shorty thirsty, he just bought his 4/5, it's lead in the water gun, he died from a full clip. Now they got toddlers drinking toxic waste, while the people responsible still ain't caught no case. I don't get it, man, I just ain't with it, man. Here they go, distracting you on Instagram, back again with the all-white media coverage. They do it over and over like remedial subjects. The people with the least always gotta pay the most. We the first to go when they deleting the budgets. Can a nigga get his basic human rights? Is that too much to ask? Should I say it more polite? And everybody broke, so we in the same boat. But would they let the boat sink if we was white? They got me shades of blue. They were somehow more like a summer camp than a prison, so we imagine that world. My brother's here with me. We've just formed a new band called 93 Punks, and this is the first single we released from the album. It's called Camp America.
There's a place, it's the time of your life. No parents alive, no playing inside. You can laugh until you cry at Camp America. So much fun, you lose count of the days. Playing hide and go seek inside of your cage. Daddy loves you, so he sent you away to Camp America. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. Camp America. It feels good. It feels great. And where you going? You gotta stay. You can't leave. You can't wait to go to Camp America. Get on the road. Get in your bag. Let's have a drink on me. We'll catch a wave. Pop a pill. Don't be sad. You're at Camp America. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. Camp America. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. Camp America. Living it up, not giving a fuck. First we splitting you up, then we put you in cuffs, and we shipping you off. Yeah, you can get lost at Camp America. Take your clothes off, baby, let me see what you got. We can have a good time if you're legal enough. It's an ignorant, arrogant, terrorist heritage. You can finally be an American. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. Camp America. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. I wanna have the best summer ever. Camp America.
Let me turn the music up in my mind a little bit. This song is called 16 Shots. I wrote this some years ago after the murder of a young man named Laquan McDonald by a Chicago police officer. All right, yeah, let's do it.
Ready for the war, we got our boots strapped. 100 deep on State Street where the troops at. The man line say he didn't see the video footage. All we really wanna know where the truth at. I'm on the south side where there's no trauma centers but the most trauma. A lot of cannons but you don't want no drama. I can't imagine if it was my own mama. Got her firstborn son stole from her, he never had a chance. We
know it's cause he black. Shot him 16 times, how fucked up is that? Now the police superintendent wanna double back. Cops beating up to the front like a running back. Tension is high, you see me irate. Niggas mad, they wanna violate. They screaming oink oink bang bang, tryna gang bang. Murder the fine state. I just made me a meal, I'm still militant. This ain't conscious rap, this shit ignorant nigga hair trigger. No fun when the rabbit got the gun. When I come back, police better run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 16 shots. 16 shots. 16 shots. 16 shots. They threw a little girl down on the pavement, pushed her with a bike and said, stay out the way, bitch. She was bleeding on the ground through her braces. This what happen when niggas don't stay in their places. The mayor told me when he fired the superintendent. The resignation come with bonuses and recognition. We gon' break into stores on Magnificent Mile. If I gotta go, I'm going to prison in style. Cops killing kids and staying out of jail, but Bobby Schmurda still can't catch bail. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Kill it out for 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 16 shots. 16 shots. And we walking back. 16 shots. 16 shots. There's a war on guns, but the guns keep winning. There's a war on drugs, but the drugs keep winning. Me and Laura got a clip with an extendo. I was rolling with it hanging out the window. I'm on 16th, right by the police station, about to make a pork rind out of bingo. Somebody tell these motherfuckers keep their hands off me. I ain't a motherfucking slave, keep your chains off me. Better hold this 9mm jam on me. Get flown, hope you got your body cam turned on. No black cops too, that's the same fight. You got a badge on, but you still ain't white. It's full of crime on sight. When I see Van Dyke, Vic don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Good night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 16 shots. Yeah, we walking back. 16 shots. Yeah, we walking back. 16 shots. And we walking back. 16 shots. This is in memory of Kwame McDonald. This is in memory of Eric Garner. This is in memory of Sandra Bland. This is in memory of Rukia Boyd. This is in memory of Tamina Rice. This is in memory of Freddie Gray. This is in memory of Kimani Gray. This is in memory of Emmett Till. All the way back to Emmett Till. All the way back to Emmett Till. All the way back to Emmett Till. This song is called Wings. Took me away from all the trauma, man. I miss the old days. With all of these backstabbers, I feel like the old chains. I wanna open up my parachute, but it's cold play and it's wrong. When you've never been the type to role play. There's something about this game, it fucks with you mentally. Like football players leaving the league with traumatic brain injury. And eventually, you'll never be the same as you were. Then you look back at your life, everything is a blur. Like, did I really turn 23 and see a little before 24? Did I really blow it all like a hand grenade in the middle of a civil war? Am I still down with the same niggas that I came in with? Do they value my friendship, or do they just let it attention? Not to mention my girlfriends. What went wrong? Did they do me too right? Am I the same as the snakes? Is the past coming back to bite? Did I waste too many days? Did I fight too many nights? Will they love me when I die? Will I ever learn to fly? I got so many issues, I should be my own publisher. The beat is my therapist, and just paint the picture. A portrait of the artist formerly known as Vic. I had to, but I had to do. Pick and peel pieces up out of the bathroom sink, like it the sand off of the brink. Actually, stop that music real quick, because I haven't performed this song in a long time and I forgot the verse. But I really want to give it to you, because I think in this moment as we're speaking about mental health, this verse is important for me to tell to you. So it goes. Yeah, y'all can keep that going. Introduction to Victor, not Vic Mensa. The one you never meet in a double XL issue. I got so many issues, I should be my own publisher. The beat is my therapist, I'm just painting a picture. A portrait of the artist formerly known as Vic. I read the signs, I was close to overdose like Prince. Picking pill pieces up out of the bathroom sink, like an armored truck riding the brink. I'll probably be a vegetable if not for medical attention. My self-destructive habits have me itching, like Tyrone Biggums in a cyclone of my own addictions. The voices in my head keep talking, I don't wanna listen. You'll never be good enough, nigga, you never was. Nobody fucking needs you, just jump off the bridge. You hurt everyone around you, you're impossible to love. I don't want you to live, I wish you were fucking dead. I wish you were never born, we would all be better for it. I don't love you, I don't like you, like a fucking metaphor. Every song you ever done, you lie to everyone, and ask them to tell the truth when that's something you never done. You a fucking embarrassment, I tell you when, nigga, you let the devil in. You're still an addict, you can't do without your medicine. You're an embarrassment. Climb the tallest building and spread your wings, spread your wings, spread your wings.
Nice save, real nice save.
That's all we're gonna do tonight. It's called We Could Be Free.
Woo! We can be free.
Watch my cousins back at home getting water out of well, while I watch my brothers stacking up stone, whipping water by the scale, trying to get a meal. On the other side, they ain't got a meal. We don't recognize we at heaven, so we think we live in hell. It's been getting kind of hard for me to tell. Sometimes I wake up and I look up in the sky, asking why I survived all the days I could have died. Who am I in my place when so many brothers died? In those times I try to remember turn to a poltergeist, be a ghost at night for the broken dreams. Mama tries to do beef casket, all dressed up in a suit three-piece. On broken caskets, pastors say put faith in God. Faith alone can't make things right. Who is he to patronize somebody's son who daddy died? Why they flood Baton Rouge? Why the city singing Alton's blues? Why? Feel like Jada Kiss every time I watch the news. What the fuck I got to lose? So I'm down to bleed if it means things improve. Fools say all lives matter, but it's black lives they refuse to include. Rock for the polls, up to the hood, trying to stop you from voting and stop you from voting. The cops keep blowing and blowing, keep blacks rocking the cotton, they'll want us to own it. Sometimes I wake up and I look up in the sky, asking why I survived all the days I could have died. Who am I in my place to contemplate suicide? In those times I try to remember we could be free. If we only knew we were slaves to the pains of each other. One thing I believe, if I could learn to see my enemy as my brother, then we could be free, you and me, and love could wash away our sorrows. I'm not afraid to bleed. If it makes it better today, not tomorrow. Thank you guys. I'm Vic Mensa, this is June. This is your line. We got a new album called 93 Points coming out. Make some noise for yourself, but make some noise for the man that brought us all here today. Mr. Bernie Sanders.
Running against a Democratic old guard that had run the city for a decade.
He faced a board of aldermen who was completely dedicated to opposing everything he wanted to do. They didn't even want to let him hire the person he wanted to hire as his secretary.
And there was just an outcry from the population. Hey, this guy was elected mayor, let him be mayor.
Public saw that this was a guy that not only had good ideas, but was willing to do whatever he could to try to implement them to better the lives of the average person in Burlington.
One of his campaign slogans was "The waterfront is not for sale."
You know, when Bernie was elected, the shores of Lake Champlain were a wasteland.
Bernie, more than anything, wanted to make sure is that it was a waterfront that was open to all people, that it wasn't a kind of an enclave for the wealthy.
Bernie led the effort to really transform the city and did it successfully, and it was by mobilizing lots of people.
He gave people a reason to vote who hadn't been voting.
We were able to get large amount of housing incredibly affordable for people of modest means.
Stood up to the developers in Northgate and said, "Not over my dead body am I going to allow the displacement of 336 low-income families. They don't have decent, safe, and affordable housing. They don't have a foundation from which to build their lives, the lives of their families."
Then he'd pop up his head at the appropriate moment and tell them, "I know you're going to do the right thing. This is about the residents at Northgate." And they were like, they never got spoken to like that. But people are realizing now that all over the country, working people can't afford a home.
What can we do to bring the government to a place that helps people here?
Looking at what the needs of the community are and find ways to meet those needs locally. Locally owned companies would hire local people. They would invest their profits locally. They would serve on boards of nonprofits. Business thrived. Unemployment was very low. People were happy. People were doing good.
City of Burlington went from being a very ordinary to being really the vibrant city that it is today.
The idea that we're starting on a path to try and transform the entire country.
Real change is made by real people. Power is going to see nothing without
a struggle.
I don't think this revolution is going to happen overnight. But I do think it's important that in Burlington, Vermont, and in cities and towns all over this country, workers and people who are interested in true democracy begin talking about these ideas. That maybe in Burlington, Vermont, we will strike a little bit of a spark that might spread around the country.
Much of an introduction. You all know and love her very much. Please welcome the one and only Senator Nina Turner.
Come on with me now. Yes, I am. Can we turn the lights up, though? We turn the lights up in the house. I want to see the beautiful faces. Because I just want to rap with you just for a minute, if I must, if I might, if I may. This is what a people's grassroots fundraiser looks like, baby. Come on now. We support the candidate that doesn't go into the homes of multi-millionaires and billionaires to tell them that nothing fundamentally will change for them. Because if nothing fundamentally changes for them, then nothing fundamentally changes for you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. That's right. And God knows we need change in this country. The system is absolutely rigged. There's no doubt about it. But I know a man. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and on and on and on, who has been standing in the ready position for what is right, for what is just, and for what is good. Hashtag receipts, DJ Shay. We got the receipts. We got the receipts.
We got the receipts.
He's running for his office because he feels it in his soul. I describe Senator Bernie Sanders as someone who has heart-soul agreement. Now, who has an anti-endorsement list? Come on. No other candidate that has a list of folks who don't want to see him become president of the United States. Somebody. That sets the senator apart from everybody else that's running.
That's right.
And it just really boggles my mind. Now listen, evolution is a very good thing. I'm glad folks have got some religion along the way. But our senator, from a very young man to this moment, from a young man to a seasoned man, is that all right? Has been standing on the right side of justice. See, he don't wait for Poland to tell him how to roll. He doesn't say one thing on the backstage and say another when he gets off. Right. He understands that the only way that we are going to have transcendence in this nation is if we have a political revolution. And that revolution is all of you. So senators have been standing on the right side of history for a very long time, and that's called wisdom, and it is called integrity. And you know, it's all right for the other people to have evolved. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, you know, if you're going down the wrong path and you make a change, it's beautiful. I'm just trying to understand that they're making that change because they feel it in their heart or change because they running for president. I don't know. But we got the receipt for our candidate, and we do know. And we're going to speak on it. We speak on his record of justice and equality for all. And Senator Bernie Sanders, he knows, he understands that he cannot do it alone, that it is going to take all of us to make this transformational change that we need in this country. The rainbow mosaic of humanity. And, you know, all of the candidates that's running, all 100 of them.
Oh my God. We love you, Nina. We love you.
Are speaking
we have some
from
love for
the
Nina?
gospel according to Bernie Sanders. From their mothers and their fathers. Somebody that understands that there are injustices within this system that says there will not be any more private prisons in the United States of America. Somebody understands that women need their whole damn dollar. Let me say whole damn dollar. In 2016, and I want you to follow me, sisters and brothers, a question was asked to the candidates at that time that what is the biggest threat to the United States of America in the world? And our senator stood bold in 2016, and he said the biggest existential threat to this country is climate change. Why do we need the copies when we got the original? Come on. And there is no other candidate that stands up and says that this is not about me, but it is about us. The gospel, according to Bernard Sanders, baby. The system is rigged and we need some unrigged to go on. We need somebody that's going to stand up for the working poor, barely middle class in this country and not flinch. We need somebody who is not controlled by their donors. I'm just saying. We need somebody who understands that their only special interest is you and you and you and you and you. The gospel, according to Bernard Sanders. Lord have mercy. But I do want you to know that it is going to take people power. Because there's no force on earth that can move mountains greater than the rainbow mosaic of a conscious-minded people on the move. And we are those people. So I need you to take those cell phones. You see that right there? Text donate to 67760 because you are the only special interest that the senator answers to.
Goddamn right!
And see, they got us messed up. See, they think we're not going to do this thing, but we're going to do this thing. My grandmother used to say that I can show you better than I can tell you, baby. We're going to show them how this is done. A people power revolution in the United States of America. So can everybody stand to their feet? Everybody that's able, can you stand to your feet?
Yes!
We're going to show them better than we can tell them. As Dr. Cornel West described Senator Bernie Bernie Sanders is the long-distance runner for justice. As Killer Mike described Senator Sanders, he said you need Professor X for Magneto. The way I describe Senator Bernie Sanders is someone that has heart-soul agreement, who is willing to stand up for the people even when it is not popular. I describe him through the lens of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said that the true measure of a man is not where they stand in times of comfort or convenience, is where they stand in times of controversy and challenge. We have a true champion. Baby, all the way. Keep on all the way. So can you do this for me, sisters and brothers? Raise one hand for yourself and one hand for somebody else, because we are all in this together. And with these hands, we will have Medicare for all. With these hands, we will have college for all. With these hands, we will cancel college debt. With these hands, we will have a humane immigration system. With these hands, we will abolish private prisons. With these hands, we will decriminalize marijuana in the United States. With these hands, women will finally get their whole damn dollar. With these hands, we will pay teachers a good wage. With these hands, we will save Mother Earth. With these hands, we will have transcendence. And with these hands, we will elect Senator Bernie Sanders.
Let me thank DJ Shay. Let me thank Tony Tig and Philip Rivera. Let me thank Vic Mensa. And let me thank Senator Nina Turner. Brothers and sisters, everybody sit down.
Okay, boss.
You know, some politicians go to wealthy people's homes and they sit around in a fancy living room and people contribute thousands and thousands of dollars and they walk out of that event with a few $100,000 or whatever. We don't do that. And it makes me feel so good to be in a room with all of you.
We love you!
Because to me, an $18 check or a $27 check from a working person is worth more than all the money in the world from millionaires. And I am enormously proud of the fact that as of this moment, we have received over 2 million individual contributions. And I think the last number that I heard, we're averaging about $19 a piece. And if you look, when people make a contribution, they gotta say where they work and stuff.
And our major profession are teachers. And we have a whole lot of donations coming from Walmart workers. And Amazon workers and Target workers. The people who are making 12, 15 bucks an hour. And I just want to say how much I appreciate that. Now we are, as all of you know, in the midst of a great struggle. And that struggle will determine the future of our country, and what determines the future of our country determines the future of the world. That's really what we are playing for. And not only the political future of the world in terms of climate change, we are literally, it is a life and death issue for the future of this planet and what kind of planet we leave to our kids and our grandchildren. That's what we're playing for. And when we talk about a political revolution, that's not just rhetoric. That's what we believe. That's what gets the media very nervous. That's what gets Wall Street very nervous. You know why? Because we mean it. And what a political revolution means is two basic principles. Number one, it is an agenda that speaks to the needs of working families and not just the 1%. And I think you all know what that agenda is, and because of your support here in California and all over this country, that agenda, which 4 years ago seemed radical and extreme, is now mainstream. And I think, I may be wrong on this, I think it was Nelson Mandela who said, an idea is impossible until it happens. And that's what our movement is about, is that we are trying and will make ideas that seem impossible real and make them real in the short term. And that means we have got to rethink politics in America. We have got to rethink what is possible. All right? And the greatest impediment that we face is the limit of our own imaginations. So if we were a poor nation, we would say, well, it's too bad we're a poor nation. We can't have health care for all people. We can't do this. We can't do that. We're poor. We are not poor. No. We're the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. Now, you're not going to hear this on TV. You're not going to see it in the papers very often. But the reality is that in the wealthiest nation in the history of the world, you got 3 people on top who own more wealth than the bottom half of America. That is a moral outrage. That is an economic outrage. And together, we're going to change that. Yeah! Let me bore you for a moment with a few statistics. All right, you ready to go? You heard a lot of exciting music. Let me calm it down. All right? I want you to think about this. This is what's going on to the working class in America. In the last 45 years, as all of you know, there has been an explosion in technology and worker productivity. Every worker in the audience producing a lot more than he or she did, the equivalent of he or she did 45 years ago. And yet, the average American worker today is making exactly the same in real inflation accounted for dollars than that worker made 45 years ago. So all of that increased productivity went to the people on top. And in the last 30 years, listen to this, The top 1% have seen a $21 billion increase in their wealth. The bottom 50% have seen a $900 billion decline in their wealth. So we have seen a massive transfer of wealth from the working class and the middle class of this country to the top 1%. Today in America, half of our people live paycheck to paycheck. You all know what that means. I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. And that means your car breaks down, you're worried to death how you're gonna fix that car because you gotta get to work. You don't get to work, you don't get a paycheck. You don't get a paycheck, you don't feed your kids.
That's right.
You're worried that somebody in the family may get sick and you run up a couple of $1,000 hospital bill that you can't afford to pay. That is the reality of the American economy today. While the people on top are doing unbelievably well, while corporate profits are soaring, we got 500,000 people tonight sleeping out on the streets. And in LA, San Francisco, and in Burlington, Vermont, got a hell of a lot of people paying 50-60% of their limited incomes for housing.
Yeah.
So what our job is to think big and not small. To demand that we have an economy and a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%. What does that mean? What does that mean in concrete terms? Like, this is not radical stuff. I know, being portrayed as a radical and all that stuff. This is not radical stuff. Because much of what we are fighting for already exists in other countries around the world. All right? It means that we understand that if we love America, and I hear politicians talking about how much they love America. You love America, you love the children in America. And you don't have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major nation on earth. That's called loving America. If you love America, you understand that the years 0 through 4 are the most significant years for intellectual and emotional development. So if you love America, you have high quality, universal, affordable child care. If you love America, you love the teachers in America who do some of the most important work that can be done, and we put the necessary resources of this country into creating the best educational system in the world where teachers will pay what they deserve. It's not a radical idea. If you love America, you understand that we are living in a highly competitive global economy, and we need to have the best educated workforce on earth. And that means that the concept of free public education from K to 12th grade is no longer good enough. We've got to make public colleges and universities tuition free. Does anyone here think that's a radical idea? No! It exists right now in Germany, exists right now throughout Scandinavia, Finland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway. It exists in many countries around the world. And you know what else? It used to exist in the United States of America. That's right. 50, 60 years ago, you had great public universities here in California, in New York City, that were virtually tuition free.
That's right!
So we could do it 50 or 60 years ago. Please don't tell me we cannot do it today. And then there's something else we've got to do,
Thank you!
When Wall Street and the billionaire class come to Congress, They say, we need tax breaks, bail us out. Oh. So after the crooks on Wall Street, did I say crooks? Yeah, I said crooks. After they nearly destroyed the economy and the lives of so many millions of people, lost their jobs, their homes, and their life savings, these billionaires on Wall Street who love rugged individualism. Oh, they love free enterprise capitalism. Except when they need some help from the federal government. So these rugged individualists, reminds me of what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. used to say, said, we have socialism for the rich and rugged free enterprise for the poor. And these billionaires on Wall Street, after they destroyed the economy, they came begging to the Congress, oh, bail us out. They got $700 billion, and they got trillions in zero interest loans from the Fed. So it seems to me that if we could bail out Wall Street, if we could give under Trump $1.5 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% in large profitable corporations, you know what we can do? We can cancel all student debt in America. That is on our agenda. And I'm very proud to tell you, that we've come a long way over 4 years. Many of these ideas that I was here in California talking about 4 years ago, we're moving on, all right? All over the country, good things are happening.
Thank you.
All right, let me give you another example of that. 4 years ago, I came here and I said, I think healthcare is a human right, not a business. And I was told, oh, Bernie, that's un-American. Oh, my God. Everybody loves the insurance industry. Oh, they're such good people. They're looking out for us. And we have worked with the nurses. We work with doctors. We work with many of you. And what is now happening is we have incredible momentum in the fight to have the United States do what every other major country on earth is doing, and that is guaranteeing health care to every man, woman, and child, for Medicare for all citizens. And I am told by my critics, by newspaper editorials, by everybody in the world, oh, you can't do this. This is just so disruptive of the system. I want you all to remember that way back in 1965, under LBJ as president, Democratic Congress, they passed Medicare. Okay? That was a good thing. And what they said at that point is that we need to make sure that all the seniors, people over 65 years of age, are able to have health insurance that they desperately need. And in 1 year after 1965, before they had all of the technology that we have today, they were able to enroll 19 million seniors in the Medicare program. All we are trying to do, this is not radical stuff, is over a 4-year period, is start off with making Medicare eligibility for people 50, first year go down to 55. You know how many people there are in this country who are 60, 62, who can't wait to get Medicare, desperately need health care? First year, we take it from 65 down to 55, second year down to 45, third year down to 35, fourth year we cover everybody. That is not a radical approach. In 1965, the federal government had to create an entirely new program. What we are doing is taking a program which is effective, which is popular, and simply expanding it over a 4-year period. And I believe what the American people increasingly understand is that the function of a rational healthcare system is to provide quality care to all of our people, not to allow insurance companies and drug companies to make tens of billions of dollars in profit. Just give you an example of how dysfunctional the current system is, how horrible it is. And that is, in a couple of days, I'm going to be going from Detroit, Michigan to Windsor, Ontario. And I will be going with a group of folks in Michigan who are dealing with diabetes, which is a growing problem in America. We're going to go over the Canadian border. We're going to go to a drugstore in Windsor in order to purchase insulin. We will pay in Canada 1/10 the price that these folks pay in the United States of America. And it's not just insulin. It is many, many other drugs where we are paying the highest prices in the world. Last year, pharmaceutical industry made $69 billion in profits, and millions of Americans cannot afford the medicine they need, and some people are dying. All right, we're not going to let the drug companies kill people in America. The opposition to what we are trying to do, it's not just going to come from Trump and the Republicans, and even some Democrats. The real opposition will come from the drug companies and the insurance companies, who will spend hundreds of millions of dollars to try to defeat us. Now, some of you may recall, I was here in 2016. Working with the nurses and many of you trying to lower drug prices here in California. Listen to this. On that one ballot initiative, which was a moderate initiative, wasn't particularly radical. On that one initiative, in one state, the drug companies spent $131 million. To get 54% of the vote. If they spent $131 million in one state on one ballot item, what do you think they're going to spend all over this country when we fight for Medicare for all? So that is what the fight is about. And that's right, bring it on. The Bernie, but it's not Bernie, it is you. That's what it is. It's us. All right. And what this campaign is about, which makes it, and I want to be clear about this, a unique campaign in certainly the modern history of America. What we are about is not just trying to win here in California. Of course, we want to do that. With your help, we are going to win here in California. It is not just winning the Democratic nomination nationally, and with your help, we're going to do that as well. And it is not just as enormously important as it is for the future of our country. It is not just defeating the worst president in the history of this country, Mr. Trump. What we are about is more than that. What we are about is not just defeating Trump, it is transforming this country. What we are about is understanding that with all of the great ideas that are out there, and the great speeches from everybody over the last 30, 40 years, we've all heard it. We've heard every idea imaginable. And yet at the end of the day, 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of America. We are the only major country not to have health care. We pay the highest prices for prescription drugs. Half our people are living paycheck to paycheck. And the answer is, we have got to finally ask ourselves, why is that? And the answer is corporate greed. That is the answer. So I need your help. I need your help not just in winning the election. I will need your help the day after the inauguration. Because here is the truth that no other candidate will tell you. And that is, no president, no matter how sincere he or she may be, can do it alone. No president alone can take on Wall Street and the insurance companies and the drug companies and the fossil fuel industry, which is destroying this planet. And the prison industrial complex and the military industrial complex. These people have incredible power, and they have unlimited sums of money to buy elections, to buy politicians, to buy the media. They own the media. All right? So this is not easy. But if we are serious about saving this planet for our kids and our grandchildren, we are going to stand up to the fossil fuel industry, and we're going to tell them that your short-term profits are not more important than the future of the world. And we stand up to the prison industrial complex, and we tell them no more private prisons or detention centers in this country. And we stand for comprehensive immigration reform and the end of the demonization of the undocumented. And we're going to tell all of those conservative Republican governors and politicians who tell us every day as conservatives they want to get the government off the backs of the people. They love small government. If you love small government, get the hell out of the way of women's rights to control their own bodies. Brothers and sisters, we are in a monumental moment, not only in American history, but in world history. What we have is a president who is not just a racist and a sexist and a homophobe and a xenophobe and a religious bigot. He's even worse than that. What he is trying to do, which no president in modern history has really done to the degree that he has, what he is trying to do is divide our people up very intentionally, very consciously, based on the color of our skin, based on where we were born, based on our sexual orientation, based on our religion. It's not good. That's what demagogues always do. They go after minorities, they divide people up, and they deflect attention from the fact that they end up representing the wealthy and the powerful. All right? And our job together is to do exactly the opposite. And why Trump will lose and why we will win is we are going to bring people together, black and white and Latino. Native American, Asian American, gay and straight, native born and immigrant. And we are going to tell the ruling class of this country. They cannot and will not have it all. That's a tough fight. This is a tough fight because these people are incredibly greedy. They make billions of dollars a year and then they want to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and nutrition programs for the children. But at the end of the day, the 1%, at the end of the day, the 1% may have a whole lot of money and a whole lot of power, but the 1% is 1%. And we are the 99%. And the last that I heard is that 99 is a hell of a bigger number than 1. In terms of our campaign, we're going to do very well in Iowa. I think we're going to win Iowa. I think we stand a good chance to win Iowa. We're going to do a lot better than people think in South Carolina, and I think we can win Nevada. And then we come here to California. And if we win here in California, and we can win here in California with your help, I think we got a straight path to victory in this country. And then together, we are going to have the historical opportunity of ending the tenure of the most dangerous president in the history of this country. Brothers and sisters, let me thank you so much for your support. And we're in this together. We are in this together. So let us go forward. Let us win this election. Let us transform this nation and create an America that you and I know we can become. Thank you all very much.
Out, okay?
Hey, if you want to take some pictures, you're going to get in the line over there. We're going to selfies. You're going to get in the line over there. We're going to get you on stage. Everyone will get a picture. The line forms in the back of the theater over there. Okay, everybody?
Oh my God, that's crazy.